Sheryl Crow is here. The 9-time Grammy Award winner has sold more than 35 million records over her 25-year career. Her hit songs include All I Want to Do, Soak Up the Sun, and My Favorite Mistake. Her latest album marks a return to the unique blend of pop rock that made her one of the most successful mainstream rockers of the 90s. It is called Be Myself. Rolling Stone calls the album her toughest and best in a decade. Here's a look at the single, Halfway There, featuring our good friend, Mr. Gary Clark Jr.
You pull up in your Hummer and you park next to my Volt. Wearing I'm on a 3-piece, I wear Levi's full of holes. Well, I walk along the left side and you walk along the right. We're both trying to reach the same place. We might not get there on time, but you know what's best. I know what's best. Let's just agree to disagree. Yeah, we all know the rest. Yeah, baby, if you dare, if you really care, baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there? Baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there? Yeah.
Do you know how long it's been since you were here at this table? 1997.
Oh, you're kidding.
20
years. Oh, my goodness.
So,
I can't believe that.
Thank God for you.
And I remember actually telling you, this is my favorite talk show.
Thank you.
I love
very
it. You
much.
always keep it real and interesting. And
There is a sense in terms of Be Myself here that this is a woman who's, as she looks forward, is also looking back.
yeah, that's exactly right. In fact, many times on stage I've talked about Every Day is a Winding Road, which was out, 23 years ago, was a younger person looking at the road ahead. And there is a lot of looking back at the road I've traveled on this record.
Even to the extent of sort of listening to all the great songs that you have written and performed.
I mean, I went back and revisited some of it because I wanted to remember the spirit of some of the early stuff and how we got to that place that felt liberated. And I really feel like this record is a celebration of liberation from being in the world of competitive radio commerciality. There's something great about being my age.
And something great. I agree with that, actually.
There's some things that aren't great about being my age.
No, I agree. I agree with that, too, very much. But there is something, that if you can appreciate it and in fact, you've had the kind of a life that allows you to enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some real low moments, and all those low moments in some ways have carved out the space for the big joyful moments. And I think all that stuff was freely sort of documented on this record.
When Rolling Stone says the toughest and best in a decade, when they use the word toughest, what do you think they mean?
I mean, it's hard to know. Somebody heard it and that was their interpretation, but I do think there is a toughness about it, and the fact that it is a return to the way I used to make records, which was just a couple of us in a room, some drum grooves, and me on bass, and Jeff Trott, my worthy musical husband, for years co-writer, him on the guitar, and just really get into the heart of it. And, there's not a lot of dressing on this record. It's just very in your face, and we really, I think, tackled a lot of big themes.
Like what?
I'm raising 2 little boys, and in this period of our evolution as, humans on this planet, there's so many things that are infiltrating our little people's minds, and that are, I guess, in some ways informing them about who they are. When you consider that the internet is just this dangerous place that you have to try to protect them from, and cell phones and social media are constantly telling them what's awesome and what's likable, and it's the Wild West. And for me, as an artist, I get to sit back and talk about what that is to me, what that feels like as a parent, and what it feels like as an American, particularly during this election. A lot of what happened in the election informed what's on the record. Our ability to...
Let's talk about that.
Well, Halfway There, which was the first song they put out, really addressed the loss of civility in our dialogue. And it really just begs the question, is there no way to agree to disagree? And it kind of started out as I'm a citizen of Nashville, where there's this growing liberal community that is now living alongside a very well-established conservative community. And yet there are certain things in Nashville that we all come together in agreement on. And those are like fundraising for charities and taking care of people who need help. I mean, there are just certain things that there are no parties. It's very nonpartisan. There are lots of things that people disagree with in Nashville, but it hasn't reached the kind of vitriolic dialogue that I saw in the political campaign becomes the norm. So that's, that's really...
It's what the country needs.
I feel like it. So, and I'm just one person, I just get the opportunity to put a pen on a pad and roll tape and sing it.
Yeah. Did you have a sense of urgency in making this?
I had a real sense of urgency and a real sense of, I don't know if I've ever gone in to make a record where I felt like I couldn't write it fast enough. Like I would start playing and verses would come out in full chunks. And that, in 25 or 30 years of writing, has never been the norm. But there was a lot going on, and what a great opportunity to be an artist and be able to try to give voice to what so many people around me my age were discussing. And there's liberation in not writing for 13-year-olds.
How do you and Jeff write?
Well, the first song we wrote on this record was Alone in the Dark, and that really was the byproduct of him having a teenage boy and my having a pre-teenage boy, and just discussing how difficult it is now with bullying and with cell phones and kids kind of formulating their self-worth by what they read on texts from other kids, and this kind of loss of empathy that you can say anything that you want and not have the immediate reaction. And the song kind of just says, I'm okay with being in the dark, as in not, on social media. And a lot of it just began from conversations.
Just conversations.
Just conversations.
The two of you sitting and saying.
Yeah, and just saying, this is what's happening. Can you imagine, as hard as it is to be a teenager, growing up with that added pressure?
You've got a new album coming out with a lot of duets, don't you?
I do. I have a collaborative record. Chris Christopherson. I even have something with Johnny Cash, a song that he recorded about 3 months before he passed. So his family has lovingly allowed me to take the demo for that and record our version of it. And then we've got Keith Richards and Don Henley, one of my first employers, and Stevie Nicks.
How do you do that? Do you simply go into a recording studio with their voice? And
it depended. I mean, I called Keith and said, you have this song I've always wanted to record, The Worst, and can we do it? And he's like, yeah. And I came to New York and we hung out for a couple of days. And then with Don, I emailed him and said, you're a huge figure in my life, and would you do this? It would mean more to me than anything. Same with Stevie. I mean, there are just certain people I feel like have made such a huge impression on my life. So.
You moved to Nashville because of kids or because of career?
I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and my personal life had kind of fallen apart, and my family lived, in Nashville and near Nashville, and I thought, you know what? It's time to put down roots, and I did, and soon thereafter, Wyatt came along, and then I just found that it was home.
How are you today?
I'm great. I have 2 just scrumptious boys and a great network of friends, and it's just, it's nice.
You have said somewhere that you're happy in the dark.
Well, I do. I love not having a relationship with my cell phone. I'm one of the few people that I can say that has gone through the process of weaning myself off of it. I don't love having to use my personal life as the byproduct of promotion. I mean, I do a little bit of it as far as social media is concerned, things that I'm interested in, but I would prefer my kids have memories of me not, always on my phone.
And memories of you having conversations with them.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss out,
and experiencing things with them.
Yeah.
And seeing things for the first time in their life with them.
Yeah. I don't want to miss out. We were in Florida recently, and it was a full moon, and it was 9 o'clock, and we were out hunting crabs, and I grabbed them and said, look around. You got to remember this, full moon, the ocean.
Yeah.
So I don't want to miss it.
What would you change about your life today?
I don't think I would really
Pretty
change
much
anything.
got it where you want it.
Well, I mean, obviously there are lots of things I would change as far as the environment's concerned.
Oh,
I would,
sure. I mean that. I don't mean that.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm more awake than I've ever been, and I'm more connected to my roots than I've ever been, and so I don't know that I would spend the time to try to change
Would you
anything.
change the music industry? I mean, you've called Nashville the Wild Wild West.
Well, there are many things I would love to change with regard to the music industry and about art in general, but I would love to encourage our young artists who are coming up, who have the massive fan bases that they have, to remember the power of their words and to remember that music still does hold the power to change molecules, and that it's a rare opportunity to have so many people wanting you to express how they feel. And so there's a lot of opportunity there to write about something,
As you look back, I mean, you've called this also a grown-up record.
Yeah, like I said, I really have felt like in the last 10 years that writing has been a thing of joy for me and not connected to commerciality or radio at all. And what's happening at radio predominantly is geared towards the demographic of the 13 to the 26-year-olds. And, it's kind of liberating to not try to even write for that
Not have
age
to chase
group.
it.
Yeah. I think the things I'm loving and hating right now are probably more for people my age, grown-ups.
Things that you're loving, the things you want to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, it's different if I'm raising kids and you're 20 and you're not at that point in your life. You're going to have different viewpoints and you're going to write a different kind of thing. So,
is one of these of all the things you've written, what came closest to you? Where was it?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. I don't know about of all the things that I've written, but I could
just what comes to mind.
I could safely say that Long Way Back on this record, I think has encapsulated
really
my journey and where I'm at now, and in a way that I think is encouraging to people who are still trying to figure it out. I'm lucky.
Because you survived, or because you prevailed?
Because I think I stuck it out,
that's survival.
And the other great thing about, the journey that I've had, there's a story that we all tell ourselves about the way our life is supposed to look. There was a story for years I told myself about what was supposed to happen. You get married, you have kids, all that sort of thing. And I've really learned through my journey that the story that you tell yourself about how things are supposed to be really limits your life. And just 2 words, thank you, can really manifest unbelievable things. Thank you for infinite possibility, the things I don't even know. And that has been really my mantra for...
Did having the kids affect career at all?
Yeah, in every way.
You didn't tour as much, or you didn't...
Well, actually, it's interesting. My first little boy went on the road when he was 3 months old, and he's been to Japan. His passport is incredible. And my second son came along.
This is Wyatt was the first.
It was Wyatt, and then Levi, I got a call while I was on Jimmy Fallon. He took his first steps in the green room.
You got a call?
I got a call about a baby that was born
Yeah.
while I was at Jimmy Fallon. And
they said, we think...
we have a baby.
Well, you were waiting for the baby to be born?
No,
the baby just happened?
I get a call saying there's a little boy that's been born. Are you interested? And I said, absolutely. And I found a little bit about him. And then 2 days later, we went and picked him up. And
he was at that age? At what time at that?
Newborn.
So like 2 or 3 days?
He was 2 or 3 days old. I took Wyatt with me.
Yeah.
He just had his 3rd birthday, so he basically got a little brother for his birthday. And then, he took his first steps in the green room of Ellen DeGeneres. So, I mean,
wow.
we haven't had a totally conventional life, but we're a really close-knit family, and, we have a pact. I never am gone longer than 2 nights, and otherwise they're with me. And so I think the way that it's changed the most is I'm really enjoying making records and recording in school hours, which is not very rock and roll, but I have loved making this record. We made it between 8:30 and 5:30.
But do you want to tour?
We've been touring.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They have been on tour buses much of their life, and we've been out this year on the Outlaw Tour, which has been
Yeah,
Willie
tell me about
Nelson.
that. That's great.
It's
Willie.
unbelievable.
Who else? It's Willie.
Willie Nelson, and we've had Willie's kids, who are incredible as well. Lucas Nelson and The Promise of the Real, Avett Brothers, Jason Isbell.
Jason Isbell.
Yeah, amazing. Margot Price, Van Morrison is going to be on this weekend. Bob Dylan has been on some of it, who is just at the height of his game, and it's just been a remarkable summer, and we still have more dates to do.
So what? You show up and how many? All of you are performing?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's like a traveling circus. I was on Willie's bus the other night, and I said, "Can you believe you're still doing this tour? You've been
Willie's
doing
bus
it
tonight, you said?
The other night."
Yeah.
And, he's had this tour going for years and years. And I said, "You're still doing it. And there are still kids out in your backstage parking lot playing." And it's just incredible that he's kept this going. And, he's really, he's the architect and
Real
the
deal.
teacher, and he's just incredible.
Yeah. Much success with this. This is.
Thank you very much.
Sheryl Crow, be myself, a sense of looking back and looking forward, and all the things that are good about what she has learned, and her whole sense of what it means to be alive today. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. For more about this program and early episodes, visit us online at pbs.org and charlierose.com.